Welcome to the first webinar and exercise that we're holding online. It's going to be a great way, I hope, to give you a deeper insight into what we do at the Warrior Academy. So as well as a bit of a presentation here, there's a few different things I'm going to show you with our website to make things a lot easier for you as you go through your black belt journey with us. So I'm going to quickly show you what we're going to go over first. So first of all, I'm going to go over our martial arts philosophy and our license books. Then I'm going to talk about the Warrior method and the 4-step methodology that we use for our students. I'm going to talk about breakthrough areas and the black belt character. And then I'm going to talk about the 3 main transitions a child will go through. And after that, I'm going to talk about the black belt journey, which basically ties everything into a 6 to 10 year journey with our students. Then we're going to quickly go over our instructors. We currently got 4 instructors and 2 assistant instructors. Then I'll be talking about our global impact and WarriorNet to finish. So first of all, our martial arts philosophy is quite different to many other martial arts out there. So first of all, I'll start off with my background. So I started with traditional Taekwondo when I was about 4 and had an amazing instructor who really inspired me to compete. And I ended up competing at quite a high level by the time I was sort of 13. I'd won the British Championships a couple of times and I was at black belt level. He always encouraged me to cross-train other arts. I remember going to him and, saying that I wanted to try Kung Fu, and he was, really supportive of that, which you typically don't find with most martial artists. Normally, a martial arts instructor is quite protective over their students and wouldn't want them to explore other arts. But he had this passion for martial arts, which, it was all about learning and, taking those lessons from lots of different styles in order to produce, a well-rounded martial artist. And we've certainly adopted that same ethos and mentality. So after I had studied traditional Taekwondo, I started going into Kung Fu and Western boxing. Started doing a lot of kickboxing, did a few kickboxing competitions, and went into Thai boxing as well when I was 16. When I was 16, 17, I joined the Royal Marines Reserve, so we did a lot of unarmed combat there, which was quite interesting to see how they apply their self-defense training. And then when I was around 21, I left to Thailand. And from the age of about 21 to about 24, I spent about a year and a half in Thailand on 3 to 4 month trips, training in Thai boxing camps, where we'd be training sort of 8 hours a day in lots of different gyms around Thailand, in the north in Chiang Mai and also in the south. So I managed to combine traveling with martial arts, which is quite amazing for me. Towards the end of that, I competed at a professional level in full contact Thai boxing, which was a stadium fight on the Queen's birthday, which is quite a big celebration over there. And I won that by a 3rd round knockout. So you can watch that online, actually, if you're interested. So after that, I started to look into jiu-jitsu, and I started to study a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So for the last 3 years, I've been studying Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which is a lot of ground fighting, grappling, locks, holds, that sort of stuff. Which essentially, as you look at a martial artist, you look at someone who can compete or fight standing up, but as well as, when the competition or fight goes to the ground, they can carry on going, which is essentially, is formed part of my training. So that's my background in martial arts. Obviously, I started the Warrior Academy about 8 years ago, 2010, 2011. And from that, I've managed to have a lot of experience in training students, not just in the UK, but now around the world, which has really influenced our program. So I want to talk about traditional Taekwondo just briefly, because there's a massive misconception, I believe, that Taekwondo, which was created in 1955 by General Choi Hong Hai, was a style which should remain exactly as it was when it was created. And essentially, it was created by someone who was a first-degree karate instructor during the Japanese occupation of Korea. And it was designed to be taught secretly to help the Koreans learn to defend themselves from the oppressors. So you've got this real sense of almost rebellion in there, which is quite interesting. But it was always meant to be very practical. So in the essence of Taekwondo, the whole concept was to give people something which they could practically use to defend themselves. And what's interesting is that it was formed from lots of different martial arts, with a heavy influence from Japan and karate. And it's quite a modern martial art. 1955. It's very modern, and in its philosophy, it's pretty much a cross-training style. And so, as martial arts has developed and has Taekwondo has also developed, freestyle Taekwondo kind of evolved, and the real spirit of Taekwondo is to evolve, I believe. And I think its founder, General Choi Hung-hai, would have wanted Taekwondo to be constantly evolving. A lot of the techniques, the blocks, the guards that were practical perhaps back in 1955, they're not practical now. Students don't need to learn to defend from someone on horseback attacking. It's not something that's practical now. So it's constantly evolving. And, that's what we have really taken on. And with my background, using this element of cross-training and keeping our syllabus really exciting, I felt was really important. So you'll find in our program, the techniques we use and the self-defense we use is really practical. And you'll have elements of Thai boxing in there, elements of Western boxing in there. There'll be some elements of jiu-jitsu in there. And we bring it together to create the Warrior Academy program. And the students are graded in Taekwondo on the belt system as they progress. And so if you look through your license books, you'll be able to see the background of Taekwondo. You'll be able to look at the founding of Taekwondo, why it was founded. You'll be able to look at the Warrior Academy, why the Warrior Academy was founded and how it's been founded. And, you'll be able to log the progress of your child, and each student, has a stamp in their book for each belt they get. If you flick to the other end, you've got stamps for every competition they attend. So these license books are absolutely brilliant. They'll stay with them for life. And it's one of those things that will, a student will look back on and, with pride, I hope. So that's essentially our martial arts philosophy, and a bit about myself and how Taekwondo in particular has evolved. So the Warrior method, now it took us about 6 years to develop a methodology which we believe is incredibly powerful. Our main goal at the Warrior Academy is to develop character. We use martial arts as a vehicle to do that, but if I spend years teaching a child to defend themselves, I hope that, they may never have to use that. But the lessons they learn through training in martial arts, through an ancient system with modern teaching methods, it's going to teach them so many other skills, like confidence and self-esteem, public speaking skills, leadership. It's going to inspire them to live a healthy lifestyle. It's going to teach them emotional intelligence. There's so many moving parts to it, which develop a child's character, and ultimately, result in them having a black belt character, which we'll go into soon. So the 4 parts of the Warrior method: community, inspire, challenge, and lead. So really the first step for our students, community, is to surround them in a supportive and caring community. And I've managed to, be in so many different martial arts communities around the world, and there's something very special about them. There's this really supportive nature in almost all of the martial arts communities I've been in. And, that's got to be the foundation of any good club or organization, and it's one of those things that if you can really tick off as a club, then everything else kind of falls into place. But without having a strong community, children are less likely to be inspired to take up challenges or, be prepared for adult life as they go through your program. So we've really focused on that. Inspire. So one of the things I found a lot of students don't have is that they're not inspired. And I find this is why a lot of clubs struggle with retention, and they have a lot of students leave or only try a sport for a bit of time and then leave. And a big part of that is inspiring the students. And in martial arts, you've got a black belt at the end of this journey. Students earn a black belt, and for some reason they feel that's the end. And I'll go into that later. We're only halfway there maximum when you get the black belt, but there's this goal they're trying to achieve. And when you look at our program, it's all split up into smaller goals, and that's a really powerful way of maintaining motivation. And the earlier stages when students go through the junior program, gradings are very close together. The stripes are much easier to get, and this is because the students need that extrinsic motivation, and that's what the program gives them. But by the time they get to senior or advanced level, and they have to wait sometimes up to a year for a grading, they only get to that point because they are intrinsically motivated and they're inspired to continue and work hard. And a lot of this inspiration comes from their peers and from the instructors, and from our events, which I hope inspire our students, and the challenges that we set them. So that moves us on to challenge, and challenge is a massive step, I think. I personally think that a lot of organizations, clubs, and even schools, have this wrong. And there's this almost belief that we should protect our students from failure. And really, as we grow up into adults, failure is one of those things that's so frequent and so natural. But if we, are so protected from failure, and we're not able to make mistakes when we're younger and pick ourselves up, then we're not going to be in this position to be able to do that when we're adults, and that's going to result in adults avoiding challenges because they're afraid of failure and not stepping out of their comfort zone. But of course, you can't encourage a child to step out of their comfort zone until you've got a solid community where it's a really caring environment, and until they're inspired. Once those two things, step 1 and 2, are ticked off, then you can start setting small challenges and letting those challenges grow into bigger challenges as students progress. And we really do try and challenge our students. But when you look at the comfort zone, another on the other end of the scale, you can go too far and it can be too uncomfortable, and that can kill motivation completely. So there's this optimal performance zone when you look at the comfort zone, and that is what we try and aim for with every single student, whether or not it's challenging them to do a daily habit of 10 press-ups a day at home, or it's challenging them to go to the front of the class and teach, or it's challenging them to come to a competition or even a national championships, or even lead a full class as an assistant instructor. All of the challenges have to be specific to their ability, mentally and physically. And I think one of the biggest lessons here, really, that we teach in challenge is just to make stepping out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself a part of normal life. Not making it such a big deal. It's just part of normal life. And so that's step 3, challenge. And we found that students who are nurtured through this process, they become students who are inspiring to their peers, and they grow massively from it, and their development is super fast. Which leads us on to step 4, lead. And there's lots of different reasons we teach students to lead, and it's not just for the leadership skills in itself. When you teach a student to lead, they're learning communication skills, they're learning emotional intelligence, they're learning how to present themselves, they're learning to keep calm in stressful situations, they're learning to problem solve, they're learning all these different things at the same time. And basically the main focus here is to prepare them for adult life. If we can teach a student to lead a group of young people and they've got a strong moral compass, they're going to go out there into the world and influence their own communities as adults in a positive way, which essentially is our main focus and our big goal. So I wrote a book about it called The Warrior Method, which became a bestseller on Amazon. If you haven't got one, then I'm happy to send you the Kindle version after this presentation, although I do prefer a hardback, just a bit nicer to read. But we really want as many people as possible to read this book, especially our members, to get a deeper insight into what we do, but parents around the world, just so they can see what a powerful vehicle martial arts is for personal development for young people and for developing character. So I hope that gives you a better insight into the Warrior method. So I'm going to talk now about breakthrough areas and developing a black belt character. So at the Warrior Academy, we believe that every single child has a breakthrough area. And what a breakthrough area is basically an area that we can focus on to radically transform a child's life and improve them and improve their character. So what we found is that, the 3 C's, as you can see there: conduct, confidence, and concentration. We interviewed about 2,000 parents. A lot of those were through introduction calls where we spent about half an hour with every new parent to discuss their child, discuss how we can help them, any challenges they're facing, as well as lots of surveys we sent out. And we really got to know, the typical problems that parents face when developing the character of their children. And they aligned so well with our program, we were really shocked. But it narrows down to these 3 things: confidence, conduct, and concentration. And what we found is that a child typically has 1 or 2 of the 3, but they rarely have all 3. So they may be really confident, but they may lack behavior, conduct, and concentration in school. And so on the other side of that, they may have, they may be really well behaved, have amazing behavior, excellent respect, excellent concentration in school, high grades, but they lack confidence. And so what we do is we work with parents to discover which one of those it is. And then we work with the students in class to really focus on bringing all 3 up to the same level. And really that results in our main goal, not the black belt, but the black belt character. And a student with an amazing black belt character is going to have good behavior, excellent sportsmanship, respectful and courteous, empathetic. That covers conduct. And now with confidence, enjoys new challenges. I spoke about how we make challenging just a part of normal life. They're a highly positive character. They seek adventure and they're a natural leader. In terms of concentration, attention to detail. If you ever watch some of our classes, the attention to detail we try and pass on to our students, from the way they walk in the room, the way they put their shoes down, the way they tie their belt, the way they talk. It's all about having, that attention to detail. So that's a really big one. Self-control, they're goal-orientated and they're highly driven. And this is all part of the black belt character. So that's breakthrough areas. Initially, discovering breakthrough areas with parents and students, developing those 3 areas to achieve the black belt character. So the 3 major transitions each child is likely to go through. And the reason I want to quickly cover this is because we've built a program around this. So again, a lot of these insights came from interviewing so many parents. And the 3 major transitions that we found students are likely to go through are overcoming bullying. That's a big one. So from interviewing so many parents, we discovered that I think it's over 85% of students had been bullied, have experienced bullying by the age of 12. That's before they're even a teenager, when insecurities start increasing and, they're even more susceptible to bullying. And then there's cyberbullying, which starts, really heating up, when they're adolescents and teenagers. So there are more challenges now to overcome bullying than there were previously. People can hide behind their computer and bully. So children are more likely to be bullied than not to be bullied. And so what I found is that although it's a traumatic experience for a child, it's one of those moments in life where it can really make or break their character. And I say that from experience because I was bullied. I was in a military family where we moved around a lot. And, every time I moved to a new school, I had to, be the new guy. And it was quite tough in terms of being bullied. And then eventually I managed to face up to bullies and get over it. And you can read about that in the Warrior Method. I go into a lot more detail on it. But facing up to it and overcoming it helped turn my character around from a nervous individual to someone who had this huge sense of belief in themselves and confidence that they could overcome a situation where they are scared, essentially, and not feeling worthy. And I think when the student overcomes that, there's they get this fire that they can really become a confident person and that they can do whatever they want in life. Conversely, if they are a student who never really overcomes bullying, perhaps there's someone there, like a parent, who stops them from overcoming it. It removes them from the situation completely rather than guiding them through it, which is often the case. I can imagine, my worst fear in life would be watching my daughter, Molly, who's only, almost 2 years old, go through bullying when she's older. And, typically it would happen when you're not there, you're not around. But knowing that for her to have a strong character, she'd need to find a way around it. And that is such a difficult thing, I think, for parents. But it's something that we really specialize in helping students through in our clubs. We really focus on developing that confidence, developing that sense of self and self-esteem to help students through it. So as difficult as bullying is, and so many students go through it, I also see it as an opportunity to develop character in a really positive way. And so we're there to support students through that and do what we can to help them, stop bullying when they spot it. So another big problem we found is that, on the flip side of this, a student can overcome bullying, become so confident they actually can become the bully themselves. So there's this level of empathy which needs to be taught, and a big part of that is understanding why bullying occurs, and it's normally because the bully has an insecurity. And so that's something we try and pass on to our students to understand. Transitioning through schools, the next major transition each child is likely to go through. I've spoken about that very briefly, but when you change the school a child attends, it can, be really emotionally traumatic for them. They're going from a safe place, into a completely new place. Give you an example, primary school. You may be in a primary school in a village with 100 students going to a secondary school with 1,000 students. And now they're, bottom of the food chain from being at the top as a year 6, and that can be a really challenging time, I think, for students. But having a solid community outside of school, which guides them through it, which is exactly what we do, can really help. And we've seen that help. I think it's having that, the constant community in the background of everything throughout all these transitions, having something constant there really helps. The next thing, the other transition, the major transition, is adolescence and preparing for adult life. That's a major roller coaster, I think, for children, for teenagers and parents. But I think, again, having this focus on developing leadership skills teaches students to have this higher level of emotional intelligence, this higher level of communication. They're able to communicate better with their parents about the problems they're having. They're able to empathize better with their peers and with their parents as well. And also they're more confident, at a time when they are feeling so many insecurities, they're going to feel way more confident. So again, it's having that constant community in the background, which guides them through those 3 transitions, which leads us on to the Black Belt journey. And we designed the Black Belt journey around what our students go through in their lives and around the Warrior method, with our goal of discovering breakthrough areas at white belt to developing the black belt character from black belt onwards. And so when you look at the black belt journey, you've got the introduction there, which is typically our 2-month trial that we do for students. Then you've got the junior level. And the way I've created this is to have a really quick set of wins for student in their first year. So if you look at the belts, and you imagine there's 5 tags, stripes you get on each belt, there's a quick succession of wins for students to earn in their first year. And that really gives them the motivation and confidence to, succeed and to push themselves. It's a big part of this stage as well is developing that community. So making sure students feel safe and welcome and, giving them a new friendship group. So that's the junior level. When you look at the senior level, there we are. Look at the senior level. Over this period of time, we found that's when the transitions happen. The social, the school, the adolescence. The bullying often occurs during this period of time. I would say most of our seniors are aged sort of 8 to 13, and those 3 transitions I spoke about typically happen in that age group. And so what I think is really important, again, is that we solidify that community really early on. Students are then, they've got the supportive community, and we can guide them through our Warrior method to help them through those three transitions. When students get to black belt, you can see black belt here, the junior black belt. And a lot of students think, I cracked black belt, that's it, job done, completed martial arts, awesome. But, I got my black belt when I was 13, and I still see myself very much as a student, many years later. And I think this is a lesson that we need to pass on to our students. But really, half the syllabus is from, junior black belt onwards. And so we've created such an exciting syllabus. When students become a black belt, there's so much more to learn. And a huge part of that is developing leadership skills. So they're invited to apply for our assistant instructor role, where we take students from student level to instructor level. Students as young as 14 are doing this. And after a year-long course, they have a guaranteed paid position in our clubs. And after that, they have a chance to go for their first degree black belt, become a full instructor, and go for the secondary black belt. And we're now working on a lot of global, exciting challenges for our students around the world, not just in the UK. A lot of what we're doing in the Middle East right now, we'd like our students to join us for. I think that would be an amazing, inspiring thing to teach our students. But I'll talk more about the global aspect of what we're teaching in a second. So I'd like to quickly talk about the Warrior Academy instructors and our assistant instructors. So the Warrior Academy instructors, we've got 4 instructors right now. We've got instructor Matt, who I'm sure many of you know. We've got instructor Vicky. Everyone knows Vicky. And instructor Leighton. Leighton's only recently joined us, and he's a fantastic teacher. He's a black belt in Taekwondo. He's been studying Taekwondo for many, many years, and he's also been competing a lot as well. So that's fantastic. He's got all that experience to pass on to students. He's also a football coach as well, and has been for many years. So he's a very natural teacher. And if you've ever seen one of his classes, the way he communicates with the students, that's very obvious. And we're really picky about our instructors, because we know that it's far more than just, martial arts that we're teaching. We're really mentoring students through many, many years, through difficult transitions and developing of, their character. So there's a lot to this role. We only employ full-time instructors. We don't employ part-time instructors, for the reason that we want to work with people who are fully committed. The majority of instructors out there running their own clubs are part-time. They do it as a hobby. For us, this is our life. This is what we do. We're absolutely 100% dedicated to what we do. And we've all got different skill sets which we bring together for the team. A lot of us have a very strong 20-year plus background in martial arts. Others of us come from a teaching background. I know that Vicky, she's got about 6 years of Thai boxing and kickboxing under her belt, and lots of years of Taekwondo. But, she's also taught in behavior units around the world, from teaching the Aboriginals in Australia to teaching in some of the most difficult behavior units in the southwest of the UK as well as being a lecturer. You've got Matt as well with an amazing track record in martial arts. He's been studying freestyle Taekwondo for many, many years. He's a natural competitor. He studies jiu-jitsu every single week, and he's absolutely dedicated to martial arts, and also leads our weapons training and helps train up the instructors and our assistant instructors. So we've got an amazing team here. We've got 2 more assistant instructors who've just joined us, and we're hoping to build that up. Our goal really with our assistant instructors is to have 1 assistant instructor in every single class. And, this is what I spoke about, having a black belt assistant instructor who goes through the whole program from white belt to black belt, has read the Warrior Method book, fully understands everything we do. And, 14, 15-year-old with a black belt on, with a black belt character, after years worth of training, teaching them how to lead a class, coming in and assisting in our junior and senior and advanced classes. I think that's mega inspiring for our students. And I think it sets our assistant instructors up for an amazing role in the future, whether or not they choose to go down the career of martial arts, or if they choose to pursue anything else. I think the lessons they learn from the assistant instructors course really prepares them for adult life. So I want to quickly talk about our global impact. And I've written at the top there, our legacy as an organization will be the impact our students make as they go out into the world from the lessons they have learned while in our program. And really looking at this big picture, what do we really want to achieve? And I think this is what inspires me as an instructor, the fact that I can teach. I've got a class of 20 young students looking up at me, and I'm teaching them about respect, teaching them about confidence, teaching them about leadership. And alongside all of these lessons, there's this strong sense of, having a moral code, which comes from martial arts, that ancient teaching of, having this moral code in everything we do. And I speak a lot about that in the book, but we're trying to create students who can go out into the world and live a positive life, but not just for themselves, but to influence other people. We want our students to be leaders and influencers, and I think what we're trying to teach is that, on their own, they can do great things, but if they build a community, they can do so much more in the world. So a huge part of this is inspiring our students. And that's one of the reasons we've now expanded abroad to Dubai. We're currently in Dubai. Really, our big goal in terms of the Warrior Academy and clubs is to have Warrior Academy clubs in every single continent, around the world. And I think we'll be able to do that within the next 10 years. I think, we started this with 10 students in a small village in Somerset. And 8 years later, we're now a global organization. And I think that's really inspiring for our students. And so, we want our students to feel a part of that. Some of our students, they were there with us in the first club. I remember it was Road. We were in Road, and now one of them is a assistant instructor with us, and they've watched that whole transition. And I think that's super inspiring. So that's what we're trying to do with our expansion. In terms of our local scholarships, there's a few different things that we do locally. I believe that, giving back to the local community is vital. And I think one of the best ways we can do that is by using our teaching. So we've got scholarships set up, and we do scholarships. We're partnered with Julius House, which is a children's hospice, and we provide a scholarship for the siblings of children who are often terminally ill. And I think that's a really difficult time for the whole family, and we can jump in to help provide a really solid community for their siblings to go to be looked after and to feel a part of something. Which is really, quite an amazing thing to do. And we've had some amazing stories from that, which really inspires our whole team. Another scholarship that we do is confidence scholarships. You've heard me talk about bullying before. It's something I'm really passionate about. Every single year we run a confidence scholarship where we take students for 3 months, and we take students after interviewing them and their parents, students who have been bullied or who are worried about transitioning through schools, or who are going through a particularly tough time and need a huge confidence boost. And we've had, massive success stories with that, which, again, it's really inspiring for us as instructors to work with students like that, because that's where we can make some of the biggest impacts. We're now part of the Covenant, and we've signed a pledge an agreement with the British military, which basically says we will publicly support them. And there's lots of different ways that we do that. And, that's coming down to from running events on Forces Day, giving discounts to military families, helping military families who are moving into the area to integrate with the community, and providing scholarships to students whose parents are on tour, and sending professional photos of their children in class to parents who are on tour so they can see what they're getting up to. We've discovered that there's so many military families in our organisation because of some of the areas we teach, especially Salisbury and Amesbury, where we've got about 250 students. And so we really wanted to help support that local community. B1G1 stands for Business for Good. It stands for buy one, give one, essentially. And that's an organisation, a charity that was set up to help business owners and organisations donate to charity automatically. So B1G1 align themselves and choose charities that have very, very low admin costs. I think in most cases there's no admin costs, where the pound that you donate goes the furthest. So they really do their research on that. And I've always been quite, picky with charities in terms of I really want to make an impact, and I want, if we're asking our customers to donate to a charity, it's got to make the biggest impact possible. And we've aligned with two of the UN global goals. One of them is quality education, and the other one is health. And so we donate, automatically at every single event on a child's black belt journey. So as a student joins us, on their introduction trial, there's a donation made. I believe it's 2 months to educate children in India. When a student becomes a full member, we give 365,000 days of life-saving water to families in Africa. When a student goes to one of our competitions, we donate a bicycle to a child in Cambodia to get to school. And so what I'll quickly do now is I'll quickly show you this. Just jump out of the presentation here, and I will show you the global impact on our website. So if you go to warrioracademy.co.uk/impact, you can then see our global impact, and you can see what we've done. So far, we've given 1,632 days of access to e-learning to children in India. And that happens whenever a student joins us for 2 months. When a student becomes a full member, so we've given 9,125 days of access to life-saving clean water to families in Ethiopia. And we've given 270 days of access to a bicycle as a mode of transportation to a school. So we've got 11,000 impacts here. Our goal for 2019 is to have 100,000 impacts, to impact the lives of 100,000 students around the world. And so that's essentially what we want to do, to make the biggest impact possible and to make that global impact and inspire our students. So just go back to where I was. So I've spoken about our global expansion already when it comes to inspiring our students. We want to have a Warrior Academy club, which makes an impact on the local community, but also in the global community in every continent in the world. So that's our plan there. WarriorNet. So WarriorNet is basically what I wish I had when I was studying. When I was studying for my black belt, I wish I had this. And so we created every single video from white belt to black belt, an instructional video with myself and the other instructors teaching, so that students, when they get home, they can, log on to WarriorNet and learn more about what we do, and pause and play videos and all sorts of stuff. They can even log progress now. So I'm going to try and show you this in a second, and I'll log in when I do the demonstration. And there's also a big section for character development. So there's a lot of worksheets and exercises that you can do with your child, and I'll show you that now. Any problems with WarriorNet at all, it is something we're developing, just email us in. Typically what happens is we need to upgrade your account. When you're a junior student, we upgrade it from trial. When you become a senior student, we need to upgrade it to senior, so you have all the senior belts access. When you become an advanced student, we need to upgrade it to advanced. So all you need to do is email contact@warrioracademy.co.uk with your child's belt and just say you need access to the next level of videos, and we can do that for you. So I'll quickly now take you through a demonstration. So first thing you do to access WarriorNet is you go onto our website, warrioracademy.co.uk. The next thing you need to do is to click onto WarriorNet here. And it will actually take you to a login page. So if I just quickly if I create a brand new page here, where I'm logged out, and I click on login. The first thing you'll do really is log in. So let's just start from there. If you've not had a WarriorNet account with us before, then make sure you click on the right where it says register. So make sure you go over here and you fill in all your details. Again, this explains which belts, so junior, senior, advanced, black belt. That should explain that quite clearly. Then you've got login here. Once you're logged in, I'll go back to my original screen so you can see that. It should take you to a page like this. If you've got full access, it should take you to a page like this. If it doesn't, not to worry, you can just go up to here where you've got trial access, junior belt level, senior belt level, all the way down. This is what we have for our instructors and our black belts. So for most students, it tends to be these three and character development that you have access to. There's also a My Progress section, which we're just testing right now, and a CAP section for our Competition Accelerator program, which I'll talk about in another video, which is basically guiding our students to national competition standard, which is a really exciting course. I know our instructors love teaching that one. So just quickly go over this. At junior belt level, if you click on this, you will be able to go to a page like this. And from here, you can click Show All to see all of the videos for that belt. So imagine we're going to go to Show All. We want to see all the green tag videos. You can click Show All, and you've got every video you need, everything you need to learn for green tag, for your green tag belt. There's a question here which says, can you do it? If you click that, it will say completed. And then what that will do is, if you then click on My Progress, I'm logged into the admin account right now, so it might not show up in the best way, but let's just see. So you can see everything I've clicked completed on. So this is the one I've just clicked completed on. You can see that. Now I've got access to black belt in this, so there's a lot of videos coming up that I haven't completed. So I've obviously got a lot of work to do. So yeah, it's a great way for a student to go through everything they need to do to complete the junior level, for instance, or complete the senior level, or complete the advanced level. So that's I think, a great way of logging progress for students. We've obviously got traditional weapons here. We've gone through My Progress. Let's go into character development. So if you click on character development at the top, again, this is a big part of what we do at the Warrior Academy. So there's lots of different things here, like you can learn about earning your stripes. If we click earning your stripes, now I've tried to create a worksheet for each thing. So here's the explanation of the stripes. There's a video, I believe it's of me talking about the stripes. Then if you download worksheets here, their stripes and they look back at their belt, there's a physical representation. There you go, talking about stripes. If you download the worksheet and open this worksheet up, there is a stripe goal setting guide where you can pin this up at home. You can plan the goal for doing it, talk to your child's instructor. You can even plan a reward. And I really recommend doing this. If we've had all sorts of rewards, from going out for a meal, going to the cinema, having a sleepover with a friend, choosing the music on the way to school one morning, choosing your favorite movie at home, all sorts of stuff, having an ice cream. There's all these different stripes students can get. And I think planning a reward with your child is a really brilliant way to inspire them. So, I won't go through all of these, but I just wanted to quickly show you a couple of them. So that's, earning your stripes. There's a description of how to implement daily habits, which follow the 3 C's, which we've found have really helped speed up and accelerate a child's development. There's a goal setting guide here. There's 6 steps to overcome bullying, with videos as well, which we've found to be really powerful. And we've implemented a lot of those steps into our teaching. There's a meditation challenge. There's information here how to put sparring kit on. A lot of this is like a really interactive FAQ, which is quite cool. There's the 10 skills that we want to pass on to our assistant instructors, and there's an assistant instructor being trained right now. There's 5 steps to conquering fears. There's analyzing your performance, which is great, before and after competitions and gradings. Teacher's log is a relatively new one, but I think you're going to like it. If I quickly click on that, this will be the last one I show on the character development aspect. So teacher's log, essentially it's your child going into school with a form which says, have I ticked these boxes off in school? Studying hard, hitting my targets, behaving well. And if the teacher says yes, then they're allowed to go for the grading. So with some of our parents, they really want their children to improve in school. And so we say to them, why don't you try this? And your child's not allowed to, why don't you say your child's not allowed to grade unless they've had their teacher's log completed. So I open that one up, let's have a look. Again, you can print this off. So I'm hoping to go for my blue belt in a few weeks. For me to be allowed to grade, my martial arts instructor and my parents feel that it's important my schoolwork, behavior, and concentration in class have all improved. Please can you tick this off? So the teacher will then tick, concentration, behavior, my classwork, my homework, where can I improve? Teacher signs it, shows it to the instructor and the parents, and then they can grade. So little things like that really add some value to our online membership, I think, and we're going to constantly grow this. But a lot of this is just, letting parents know about what we do, because there's so much that goes on in our program behind the scenes, which is why I've made this video today. So that's WarriorNet, and I hope you see a lot of value in that. Go back to the presentation. Here we are. Cool. That's WarriorNet, and that's it. That is the end of the presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. If you have any comments or any more questions, let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll make sure that we send you the Warrior Method Kindle version. And if you want the physical hardback, you can buy that from our website. I know that we've got a £5 discount. It's £15, I think, on Amazon, but only £10 from our website, which you're welcome to buy and have a look at. Otherwise, more than happy to send across the Kindle version for free. I'll also send across this presentation so that you guys can look back and have a look at anything you might have missed.